Two people become trapped in a strange place with stolen money. They are trapped in a never-ending loop. The film begins in a bar where a man named Joseph is waiting for his sister, Sydney. They robbed $1 million. The police are after them, so they have to hide for a while. Sydney did this because she was in debt. She did this because wanted to give her daughter a good life. Joseph has a plan. He says, "I met a woman once. She owns a house in a nearby village. It's been vacant for a long time. We can hide there. It's just a matter of a few days." Both of them had guns and set out for the house. Sydney had great faith in her brother. Soon, they reached the fields. Passing through the fields, they heard gunfire. As they approached the house, they saw three boys having fun. Sydney came out with a gun and told them to leave. The boys weren't afraid of Sydney. But as Joseph came from the other side and fired a shot, they ran away. Joseph told Sydney they should hurry inside. And these two entered the house. The house was quite old. It seemed as if no one had lived there for a long time. Things were scattered around, and the floor was covered in filth. The secret was that this house allowed time travel. This meant that a person could travel to any time, such as the past or the future. Not only that, but they could also be sent to another world. There were two old clocks in the house whose time had to be set according to the instructions. Just then, the sound of police sirens came. Sydney urged him to run, but Joseph said they had to go to the basement. The door would only open with the clock's combination. The two quickly set the clock's combination, and once the basement door opened, they hurried downstairs. Suddenly, darkness fell and everything went silent. They had actually time traveled back to a time when the house was new. Joseph followed diary's instructions and turned back the clock in one room. Sydney was shocked. She couldn't believe this was really happening. But the truth was, they were both fools. Whoever sent them to this house wasn't there. This meant something else was going on, something very dangerous. Joseph explained to her that this place was now completely safe for them, but on one condition: they had to stay here for 14 days. They were both happy to think that at least no one would come looking for them. The first day, they both just rest. Then, the next day, Joseph goes for a walk nearby, not too far from the house, because this house has a limit they can't cross. Sydney finds some clothes in the house. The furnishings are a bit strange. There's both old stuff and modern new stuff. But for now, these two ignore all this, because they just want to be quiet. Days pass. 13 days pass like this. One night, they both look at an antique in the house. That is, she was talking about something precious and old. Then they start talking about their past lives. It turns out that their past wasn't so good. Sydney remembers the tune of a song she heard as a child, which was her mother's favorite. Just like that, 2 weeks pass. They were happy to be leaving. Sydney was anxious to return to her daughter. They start cleaning the house, and Joseph burns all the trash. Now, just as they had previously followed instructions in the basement and entered a different timeline, they need to follow some instructions to return to their own timeline. So they head towards the basement. But to their shock, they find that someone has locked the basement door. It turns out that there is a church and a mill nearby. A message was written on the door: if you want to go back, go to the old mill. Seeing this, Sydney panics and, without thinking, runs towards the mill. Joseph follows her and tries to calm her down. When they enter the mill, they are astonished. It's like a church was set up, as if it had once been used for religious ceremonies. A corpse was also lying there, in a very bad condition. If you are willing to stay here, sign below. She refuses to sign the document and, without thinking, runs away from the mill. Now, as I mentioned, this house has a limit beyond which these people cannot go. So, as Sydney tries to cross it, she starts vomiting blood and falls unconscious. When she regained consciousness, Joseph had already brought her inside. They both understood that she couldn't leave this place. Upon regaining consciousness, Sydney became furious and screamed, having escaped from one predicament and fallen into another. Learning the truth further enraged and shocked her. Joseph told her that the body they had seen at the mill actually belonged to the woman who had sent them there, whose house it was. They both understood there was no escape. Joseph signed the document, and as he wrote his name, a safe suddenly appeared. Inside the safe was a tape recorder and a small note. The note read, "Say something and then close the safe. Your words will create a connection, a kind of link." Joseph opened the safe, said, "Hello," and then closed it. A minute later, when he turned on the tape recorder, they heard an unknown man's voice. The voice tells Joseph that he shouldn't be here, but rather, go back home. Whoever it was, knew everything about them, everything about the theft and the escape. Sydney tries to talk to him. She senses that unknown man wants a share of the money. Sydney was willing. She just wanted to get out of here, no matter what. But whoever it was, wasn't interested in money. Joseph thinks the voice belongs to someone from the future, or from another universe. But they're now completely trapped. Sydney opens the safe again. This time, as they talk, the voice says, "If you want to get out alive, you'll have to kill one person," which shocks them both. Sydney asks, "Which person?" The voice says, "You'll have to kill a stranger who comes here. You'll have to destroy any evidence of him. Only then will you be able to return to your world. We were able to track you, but not that unknown person. We don't know what era he's in, what timeline he's entered. If we kill him, you'll be able to return to your own timeline. But if we don't, your existence in that timeline will be erased." Knowing all this, the two return home and plan how to deal with this situation. They hide some weapons nearby because they don't know when, where, or how these unknown people will attack. They were also prepared to take turns guarding. Many months pass, but no one comes. One day, Sydney tried to learn about the house's history. It didn't belong to the owner. Joseph was also angry that they were being used as subjects in an experiment. They hadn't heard from the man again for quite some time. Joseph went to the mill every day, trying to hear his voice through a tape recorder, but he got no response. He was watching Sydney through binoculars. Before he could shoot Sydney, Joseph yelled, alerting Sydney. She quickly ran inside the house. He shot repeatedly, but missed. A fight ensued, and the stranger wounded Joseph and took him to the mill. But he wouldn't talk. He also wanted Joseph to speak for him, telling those in control that Joseph had killed the stranger. When they asked for proof, Joseph lied, saying it was too cold. I couldn't find his body, he said. But they realized he was lying. Sydney was at home at the time. A safe arrived there as well. He's not even your mom or dad. When the stranger entered the house, Sydney fought him. And when she removed her mask, Sydney was shocked, knowing it was none other than his daughter. Joseph also wanted to kill her. However, while Sydney tried to stop Joseph, he fired. To save her daughter's life, Sydney stepped forward, being shot and nearly killed. She couldn't even tell Joseph that she was her daughter. He then contacted them, requesting them to send him back to his own time so he could correct his mistake. Joseph says, please give me one last chance. So they agreed, sending Joseph to the day she was supposed to come to the house with the stolen money. And now, Joseph goes back in time, kills his original self, and then returns with his sister. But this time, he accidentally kills his sister, and this happens not just once, but multiple times, and continues to recur. Years pass, and Sydney once again appears in the loop. We see that Joseph has grown older. He tells Sydney, I tried so hard to save you, but every time I accidentally kill you. This will continue because of greed. There's only one solution, and that's for you to kill me. Leave the money and go back to your daughter. Never go to that house again, because this is the past where you're alive. If you don't go to that house now, everything can be stopped, which will stop the lure. He forces her so much that Sydney shoots him and kills him. When she escapes, the siren rings, meaning the cycle will repeat itself. This will keep happening again and again. These experiments had been taking place here since 1955, which is why various items were found there. Furthermore, there were numerous time travel houses where different people were present, and with this the story of the film ends.